join us today. So this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube after this session for public view. If you're uncomfortable with being on video, please keep your camera turned off. And we want to encourage you all to keep your microphone muted during the presentation. And if you have a bad connection, I think one of the best things to do is just to turn your video off. That could help with your bandwidth. Submit your questions to the chat. And if you have a question that is selected, we'll ask you to come up to the camera if you are a little bit more comfortable with that. All questions will be answered either today or we'll get back to you via email so that we can make sure that you feel comfortable with the next steps. We're about to engage on a new journey of data collection and management. So welcome to the conversation, everybody. Next slide, please, Maria. All right, Maria.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Drain, and I am part of the TK20 team, as Dr. Hill Jackson had explained. And for this orientation, I will be keeping my camera off because I am accessing a whole bunch of different things, and my internet connection is also a little shaky sometimes. So we're doing that as a precaution. So welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Misty.
And Misty Korn. I'm in the Office of Educator Preparation, and you probably are familiar with me as I work with the students to complete certification, and as well as college and university-wide for compliance. I am very excited to be a part of this team. We have been working for almost a year now, and we are really embarking on the fun part where we get to start sharing these new transitions with you and get your feedback. And most importantly, we want you to see what this is going to do to help improve our programs and make us more data driven and be able to use that good data that we collect. So welcome.
Indeed. Listen, Misty and Maria, thank you so much. You both are incredible. Nobody knows what this is going to look like but the two of you, because you've been doing the hard work behind the scenes, and we appreciate you both. I want to share with you a couple of the responses from the chat. We have Kayla, who shared that I am most excited to see a more seamless process for faculty, staff, and students. So thank you, Kayla, for that. We also have Laura Wilding, who wrote, most excited, database for programmatic improvements, most nervous, losing the CEHD data portal. We hear you, girlfriend. And then we also have Kelly Schmidt, who wrote, nervous how much this will require of university supervisors. Good question. I love these. So thank you all for your comments. If anybody else want to share along the way, please feel free to use the chat. Thanks, everyone. Next slide, please, Maria.
Okay, so this is our agenda for today's orientation. We already did our introduction. So then next we will go over what is TK20 and also why are we deciding to move on to TK20. And then during that time, we'll also go over the tasks that you can do within TK20 and then some of the most used terms in the program. And then we will continue on and go over the three buckets being field experience, portfolios, and then applications. And then we will go into the more detail, or give you guys more details by showing you some demonstrations. And we also have a testimony from our pilot group. So we're excited to share with you guys that piece. And then lastly, we will go over some reminders and give you some more dates to put on your calendars.
All right, I'll jump in and help you out here, Maria. So a little bit about TK20. It is an assessment, accountability, and management system to help colleges and universities meet requirements for accreditation. TK20 stands for technology in kindergarten through age 20. Next slide. All right, so TK20 is the new assessment and accreditation database for the College of Education and Human Services. I want you all to know that our current data portal for the college is going away by October. Now, what that means is that we plan to sort of teach out from that current data portal, but any new students that must be onboarded to your programs, our goal is to sort of route them through TK20. TK20 facilitates the performance of assessment and field placement processes. And TK20 provides a tool for candidates, our students, to document their development, competencies, accomplishments, and progression through their preparation program. TK20 is widely used by educator preparation programs around the country, as well as by many of our colleagues and peer institutions in the state of Texas. As with all platforms, it comes with its problems, but also its assets. Next slide. So let me tell you a little bit about why we've chosen TK20, right? I want you all to sort of understand how we got here, all right? So there were many conversations over the years about our data portal and how we're tracking information for our students in our programs. So over the years, those conversations really didn't get anywhere, but somewhere around 2018, 2019, those conversations began to have a little bit more traction. So discussions were held relative to a platform to support continuous improvement. I got to tell you, before 2018, 2019, we know, all of us on this call know, that the data portal for the college was created. That was the sort of the brainchild of Misty Korn and our friend Arlen Strader. They got together, they decided to put together a platform that really works in terms of meeting our needs with TA. It does exactly that. I kind of think of the data portal as the second generation of meeting our data needs. The first generation was a lot of our faculty and program leaders just had information on their desktops and laptops. And with the second generation, right, what we had was a nice data portal to help us sort of collect and track all of the data that we need in terms of, doing the work that we need to do for reporting. What we started to realize is that we needed to do more than sort of adhere to compliance. But if we're really talking about educator quality, we need to be thinking also about continuous improvement. So those conversations really started in earnest in 2018 and 2019. By 2019, the college put together an ad hoc data committee, and that was formed in the fall of 2019. It included Misty Korn, Kim Parrish, Miranda Walichowski, Laura Wilding, Melissa Fogarty, as well as Susan Holly. And what they did was just sort of do an evaluation of the needs of the various educator preparation programs. They talked about, by the time they put their report together in 2020 for the dean, they sort of talked about the pros and the cons of our current system, as well as TK20. They did not make a recommendation. They just shared sort of the pros and cons. It was the dean's decision after the report was submitted to move forward with TK20. And at that time, last summer, I believe, that's when we purchased TK20, and Misty began sort of the initial training on her own to learn all about it. So we're very thankful for all those many months that Misty worked behind the scenes to sort of get an understanding for all of us. By the time we got to spring 2021, we had our first pilot program, the principalship program, did a little bit of field testing. They were the first to get started. They've actually had a lot of success sort of building out one of the tools that we plan to sort of share with you all today. So the principal program, they worked long and hard. We want to give kudos to Melissa Coleman. You'll hear from her later with a testimonial. She did a lot of work. I mean, to learn how this platform works. It really, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but it really does involve you putting your head down, really focusing on, all of the different aspects of the platform and building out those needs for your program. So kudos to Melissa Coleman, working alongside the leadership of Dr. Susan Holly as well. And now I believe they're bringing on as well. Melinda Waterman has been working behind the scenes. And then there are other faculty members who are going to be joining them very, very, very soon. So they got us started and they've shown us that it can be done, but it is indeed a lot of hard work. Moving forward, what we want to do is offer you all some boot camp days so that we can really get our hands dirty and understand how this works. So the purpose of the boot camps is to give you a kind of end user experience so that you really understand sort of how to engage this platform from the perspective of a staff member, a faculty member, or the student. So we want to make sure that you have a sort of sense of what that looks like. And then 2021, our goal is to make sure we're all onboarded. I know summer is a time where we're sort of scattered with our families. We're going to support you in terms of building out some of the forms. Tk20 is a form-based system. So it's really important that when you're thinking about your needs, you think about how can I design a form, right, to meet that need. What we're doing on your behalf is helping you to create those forms. And then we're going to show you during boot camp time how to engage those different tools. So we'll do a lot of the hard work at the front end so that you can spend your time thinking about how to best serve our students, our Aggies. And that's what this is really about, right? At the end of the day, it's really about how we can better provide sharper, cleaner, more rigorous programs for our Aggies. And I think we're all on board with that vision for sure. And then by October, we're not onboarding any more programs, any more of our candidates into our programs in the college data portal. We'll teach out, the folks who are in there, we'll make sure that we finish running through that process with them. I don't want you to think that information is going to be lost. We're going to figure out a way. We're going to stay up night and day, I guess, and figure out how this all works, get our data moved over, find a place to get it stored. But anybody new as of June 1st will have to come through TK20. So our goal is to make sure that we all have a clear understanding of how we're going to move forward and that you feel empowered to do so. All right. Next slide, please, Maria. So look, why are we doing this work? Because we are a big ship. We're a huge institution. And I think for a lot of us, and it's understandable that we work a lot in silos. Our heads are down. We understand how our programs work. We understand how to make them work well. But you all should know when it comes to TEA, who we are beholden to. They make sure that they set out our mandates. But the College of Education is the educator preparation program. And all of these different certification areas actually are what are called entities under the College of Education. So we have 4 departments in the college, and there are several certification areas for each department. And so that's really important to understand that we have a couple of dozen certification areas, for Ed Prep, 2 for EAHRD, 5 areas, including supplementals and EPSI, 3 areas in HLKN at the moment, and then TLAC has several certification areas. In addition, TLAC is the home of our new secondary education minor, and that minor is now branded as Aggie Teach. So we have a relationship with several colleges around the university, including our friends at Galveston, where we're offering a minor in secondary education. So there are many certification areas to keep track of. We're only growing and expanding, and it makes sense that we would have a way to sort of capture all of our important needs as we report back to TEA. So the students in our programs, they not only are working towards their degree, but they're also working towards their certification. So there's a lot for our students to sort of be mindful of, but there's also a lot for all of us who are staff and who are faculty to be mindful of as well. So we're a big ship, and this figure demonstrates that. Next slide, please. All right, I'm going to turn this over to you, Maria.
Okay, so as I said at the beginning, there are 3 separate buckets or 3 separate tasks within TK20. The first being field placements in the field binder and time logs, the second being portfolios, and the third being applications. So the part that we have already launched is with the principal practicum, and we launched field placements and time logs. So that's why that part is bolded. So within that little bucket, faculty and staff are able to observe students in early field placements and during clinical teaching, and they're also able to verify time logs and assign field placements, excuse me. And then the current parts that we are working on, Misty and myself and Dr. Hill Jackson, are the portfolio parts and the application parts. So within the portfolios, students will be able to add any work that they feel proud of, such as lesson plans, any experiences that they took away from their field experiences or clinical teaching. And then for the applications part, that is to admit students into the upper level and or professional phases of their program. Okay, so before we get into our demonstrations, let's go over some TK20 terms. And so in TK20, there are certain roles. The first role that we are going to go over is the University Field Supervisor. So the University Field Supervisor can either be a faculty or staff. And this field supervisor is responsible for assigning students to certain courses and just making sure and monitoring the students' progress as they continue on throughout the semester. The candidate refers to the student. The site supervisor can be the mentor teacher, so that's a term that we're all familiar with. And the cooperating teacher can also refer to the mentor teacher. And I am unaware if some of you opened my email, but I sent a TK20 glossary that had all of these terms. So if you aren't able to recall or want to refer to these terms in the future, the glossary is there for you. And it was in the orientation user guide that I sent out. Okay, so now we are moving on to the field experience binder. And that is similar to a physical binder that we all use. And in the field experience binder, the FE binder, students will store any forms that they may complete, any forms that they may complete. And there will be, it's also interactive to where if the student completes one part, the field or the faculty can then view it and then fill out any additional review forms. The time log is in the same manner as the field experience binder to where it's interactive as well. The student will submit hours to be checked, and then the cooperating teacher will approve it. And then the university field supervisor can again monitor it. And then for the portfolio piece, we are still working on building that, but it will be interactive as well.
All right, so I don't want anyone to panic. We're going to show you, we're going to give you a little test drive today So you get a chance to see what TK20 looks like, okay? So a lot of information coming at you, but our friends, Misty and Maria on the call today, we're going to actually show you the platform so you get a sense of it today. So a little bit about why TK20. And I think I sort of hinted to it earlier in our conversation today. So we know that we've been doing this compliance work. We've been doing it very well. You all have been sort of masters in terms of tracking the all important information that's required by TEA. So thank you for all the great work you've been doing over the years. The current system, the data portal, again, it works really, really well in terms of tracking and serving as a storehouse. But as we move forward, we're thinking about how we can improve. How we can improve by way of two avenues, right? In terms of how we support our candidates and them sort of understanding where they are and their own development, right? But also how we're doing in terms of our programs. So what TK20 will offer us is the ability to sort of drill down and see how our candidates are progressing individually, but also how they're progressing sort of as a collective as well. And then we get to use all of these different data points that we are sort of storing, collecting, and tracking to better inform our programs so that our staff and our faculty can make better decisions, decisions that are driven by data, so that we can continually improve and get better and better. Listen, our Aggie educators are some of the best in the state. We're good. You all have made them very good, but our programs can get better. And so when you're able to look at data and use data to sort of help direct the decision-making processes that you all have in place, wouldn't that make our students a little bit better in terms of their own development, but also our programs a bit better as well? What you're going to find is with TK20 is the ability to have a place to house and track all of that great information, but also the ability to run reports and see how you're doing, right? As a program as well. So this is exciting. So we get to move from just compliance to compliance plus, and that plus is continuous improvement. And all of that, it has to be done with all of you putting your heads together and saying, how can we use this data? And how can we use it in a very smart way? Data is one thing, but smart data is another. Smart data, it means that you're actually taking the time to take a look at what's being stored and think about how you can use it to best inform your practices. So we're excited with you and for you. Next slide, please, Maria. All right, so TK20 has a lot of different functions. And you can get lost in the functions if you're a techie, but I don't think a lot of us on this call are techies. We took a look at some of our basic needs, really sort of directed from that great report that the ad hoc committee put together. And so what we decided to do was to begin with 3 basic buckets of our work. So as we get started with TK20, the 3 basic buckets of our work are in these 3 areas: field experiences, portfolios, and applications. So when it comes to field experiences, there's a lot to sort of collect and think about, right? So in terms of, observations and time logs, things that you all are familiar with. Also, when it comes to the applications, a lot of us are using disparate sort of approaches. What we want to do is have all of the application processes all in one place, all under the roof of TK20. I'm really excited because Maria and Misty, they're going to give you a little test drive and overview today of field experiences and applications. When it comes to our 3-day boot camp, we are assigning each day to a particular bucket. So for boot camp day number 1 on May 19th, it's all about field experiences, right? So if you are someone who is a staff member or maybe a program leader, you really need to be there for day one. If you are a faculty member that's interested in portfolios, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more next, you need to be there for day two to learn a little bit more about what the end user experience is all about and make some decisions about your program and how you want to use portfolios. And then when it comes to applications, that's day three of our boot camp, May 21st. And so it's really important that folks like our advisors, as well as faculty who have a role in the review of applications and program leaders, that you're there on that day as well. So these three buckets represent our general work with sort of standing up TK20. And what you see here on the screen as well are those dates for the boot camp as well. So let's start taking a little closer look. I want to talk to you next, if you don't mind, Ms. Maria, next slide. I want to talk to you about portfolios. And then our friends Maria and Misty are going to give you a test drive, let you see the platform for field experiences as well as applications. So e-portfolios. So there are so many educator preparation programs, whether you're talking about school counseling or reading specialist or the principalship or even special education or or bilingual or the traditional programs. Educator preparation programs really understand that portfolios can be a really great experience for our candidates, right? So there's lots of literature that talk about sort of teacher or educator work samples or e-portfolios or portfolios. So a lot of us on this call, we're familiar with portfolios. We haven't sort of instituted portfolios in the past, but it makes sense that we would, as a collective, think about how we as a college can move forward with this new initiative. Now, electronic portfolios are artifact collection tools, and it is supposed to be sort of driven by the student. It's a means to assess student or program growth. Now, what you all should know is that TEA, from time to time, in their 3-year or 5-year reviews, will ask for student artifacts. And we often have to go chase down faculty and say, do you have anything that you can provide for us? So having an e-portfolio helps us to do a lot of different things at once. Support our students' sort of development, also to help us know how we're doing as programs, but also make sure that we have these storehouses of artifacts. So when the compliance officers come knocking on our door, we have the artifacts ready to go. It's also important that these e-portfolios, when you design them, are aligned to standards, and that's a best practice. So for example, if you are a traditional teacher ed program, you may want to think about aligning your e-portfolio to the TTES standards. And if you are a principalship program, you may want to think about aligning your portfolio to the PASL standards or domains and competencies. So each of our program areas, you have different sort of domains or standards or competencies that are sort of reflective of your field. And so having portfolios is a good thing, but unless and until they are aligned with the standards for your field, they really don't make sense, right? So we have to keep that in mind. What we don't want to do is say, here's what everybody has to do. We want to ensure that faculty have a voice in this. If you're a program leader and you're thinking about, how this can help your program to grow, this is really a great opportunity for you all to sort of chime in and say, here's how we want to move forward. Either we want to have a portfolio that really is sort of marks the summative experience for the student, right? Really that end game. We want to have a summative portfolio maybe during clinical or internship experience. That's one way to go about it. That's sort of the summative experience. Or you can have a formative experience where you are supporting students throughout their journey, throughout their degree, where they are uploading artifacts all throughout their journey. That really is a best practice, but we don't want to dictate. We really want program leaders to be thoughtful and get together and then let us know how you want to sort of set up your portfolio experience for your students. Example artifacts include professional statements and resumes, papers, PowerPoint presentations, other kinds of presentations or manipulative video demonstrations or teaching lessons. So that it runs the gamut. And we have a really great opportunity to put best practices in action. So so the call, sort of the action item for everybody on the call today, if you are a faculty member, is to be thinking about what, if ePortfolios works for you all, and we hope and realize that it should, but B, how do you want it to look? You know, the college will never dictate that to you. Faculty are in charge of all curriculum decisions. So we really want to hear back from you over the next couple of weeks before we have the boot camp in terms of how your program will move forward with ePortfolios. All right, that's all I have. Next slide, please, Maria.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the field experience binder. And Maria, if you can log in to TK20 and share your screen, what you guys are seeing right now is a screenshot of a field experience binder. And these binders are built to where you're seeing two sides. On the left-hand side is the student view and the student work. And on the right-hand side is the information that the site supervisor or mentor teacher, cooperating teacher, and the field supervisor would be doing, university supervisors, the work that they would be completing. And I know we can't see it, so we're waiting for Maria to get logged in for us.
And then a quick little heads up, the field binder that I will share contains some sensitive information, such as the student's information. So I will stop recording for this part or pause the recording.
Go into the application and complete a reviewer's assessment. And then after that, an email will be sent to them notifying them that they have been admitted to the program. It'll be very, very similar to what we have now in the data portal. We will create a general message of admission like we have now, but you will have the ability to make that personal. So you will be able to go in there and send that offer of admission like you typically do at this time. And from there, it will tell the student what they need to complete next and how to go about doing that. So Maria, I will let you go ahead and
Hello. Okay, so the applications, or at least the view for the faculty, is similar to the field experience binder, to where it's where you're given a split screen. So the applications process is a two-step process. First, the student completes a form, and the form that I built was very general, and it was for the undergraduate applicants. And so on the left, it shows all what the student had to complete. So this is the form. After showing this part, I can show you the specific form. So on this form, the student had to complete or enter in general information about themselves, their UIN, TAMU email, and then also their personal email and all their phone numbers. The reason why we asked students to include their personal email address and cell phone numbers is because we want to keep up with them after they graduate, and we felt that it was really applicable and very helpful just to build this relationship with each student. And then it goes into the demographic information where the student has to enter in all the information about themselves, such as ethnicity, date of birth, citizenship status. So all these requirements are some of the requirements that Misty has to report to TA. And then we're going to continue on past the demographic information, and then it goes into the academic history. So for this part, we're asking students to enter in any information that pertains to their experiences, either from high school or during their time at Texas A&M. So they have to enter in any extracurricular activities that they're involved in, any honors or special skills, and then any volunteer work experiences with pre-K through 12th grade learners. And then once they get past all that, they are then going to go through and then click on and acknowledge that they understand that they have a certain number of attempts on the content exam. They have to do a criminal background check. They're initially just clicking on that they understand that they have to make sure all these requirements get done or completed before they are given their TA number. So then they have an opportunity of uploading a transcript. And then the last part of this document is a depositions little survey that they have to complete. And then once they complete this survey, this number gets tallied. And please tell me if I'm going too fast because I can slow down. But this number gets tallied, and at the end, that student is given a mean score or a total score at the bottom. Let me show where my mouse is right here. And then faculty or teachers or professors can utilize this number to just see how the student is. So for instance, if Joanne didn't have a good first year during her first semester and they were able to tie back her behaviors or how she felt throughout her whole time at Texas A&M. And then they will initial over here. So then for the second process, the reviewer, it can either be a faculty member or an advisor, whoever completes the second part, will complete this form where they will input any of the students' GPA, semester credit hours, and then answer yes or no if the student is meeting the basic skills. And then once they complete this part, so hitting save and close, and unlike the field experience binder, they will hit submit after deciding whether or not the application was accepted or denied or in progress. For this part right here, we did talk to Rachel from the Watermark / Tk20 team, and she said that we can add more final results. So for instance, if there are some parts that still need to be completed, then there can be an option for that. But we do all have to come up with a list of results that we want, because these results can't differ from each application. Like one application has to have the same criteria. So once the faculty or reviewer completes this, you'll hit save and then hit submit. Once they hit submit, the student will receive a notification within Tk20 letting them know that their application has either been accepted, denied, or any other result. Okay, are there any questions for this part? Okay, let me check the chat just in case.
I've got the chat going here.
Okay.
One of the questions Kayla just asked if they've got students that are going to begin coursework, upper level coursework or professional work in the fall, should they have them submit the Tk20 application now? I really don't have an answer for you, simply because we're still in the process of building.
Mhm.
So I will need to follow up with Dr. Hill Jackson and see how that's going to be handled. So I'm sorry, Kayla, that I don't have an answer for that now. So is that Melanie? Hi. When we check, can we change any data like GPA? So when the reviewer is doing the application review part, you're going in and verifying what the student entered. So if what they entered is not correct, let's say they figured their GPA wrong, or they counted content area hours that really shouldn't have been counted. Yes, you get to change it. This right hand side becomes our admission form. So it does need to be what you are currently using for admission standards. So if they tell you they have a 4.0 and you figure it up and you go, whoa, this is more like a 2.8, you'll definitely enter the 2.8.
And then also to interject, there is a part on the initial form that the student has to complete where they are required to upload a transcript. We can make that where it forces students to answer that question and upload a transcript, or just keep that as an option for the student to decide whether or not they want to upload a transcript. So the transcript will always be there for you to quickly refer to it. So if it was over here, you could easily click on it and then it pull up their transcript. And then also at the top, you have the options of going through, well, this is for Mickey Mouse and he is not an actual student, so his information's not here, but you can click on the transcript or test scores button and easily verify to check their GPA.
And that is all coming in through the Argos load. So it's coming straight from Howdy. So that information should always match. So if you are someone doing an application review, you will not have to have multiple screens open and going back and forth to Howdy. You should have everything you need up here. Okay, it is after 1, and we promised to only keep you an hour. So Maria's got a few reminders for you, but before we log out of this, is there anybody else that has any questions or concerns or anything we can answer at this time?
Misty, I have a quick question. Will the boot camps be recorded just in the event that something comes up when we can't make it?
You know, I'm not certain, Kelly, because I don't know exactly how the format is going to be. If we have breakout rooms and if we are dealing with student information, we will not have the ability to record that. But let me check on that, because I think we could record the general information part. I think when you start building and dealing with student data, and I don't know if you can record the breakout rooms. So let me find out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so before we give you guys the dates for the boot camps, we are going to show a quick little testimony that Melissa Coleman gave us during the first orientation, and it was just very enlightening. So we wanted to share it all with you.
I think you have to show, if there's voice with that, I think you have to push a button for us to hear the voice. Is that right?
So you are unable to hear the video?
Right, we can't hear it.
Well, that is a problem. Let me see if I can.
Maria, if you push more to the side in your Zoom control panel, there should be like a little more button that then clicks down, and then it should say
Share sound.
Mhm.
Ah, thank you.
Of course.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Misty. It's really wonderful to see everyone here. Just to contextualize this personal testimony, the transitioning to a new platform can be really overwhelming. But really, once I understood that there's a difference between learning mechanically how to use TK20 and understanding conceptually how to use TK20 to the work that we were already doing in our program, I was really able to understand how to utilize it and have confidence in myself and the system. Two big takeaways as you all are learning and experimenting in TK20 that I would recommend is taking notes to remember how specific functions correlate and connect to what you're trying to replicate in your current actions and work inside TK20. The second recommendation I would make is that if you are working in TK20 and you're setting up various roles, so what you need students to accomplish, university field supervisors to accomplish, or site supervisors and cooperating teachers to accomplish. What really helps me conceptually understand how all of this connects together is keeping a running list of all the roles and tasks that those students perform in the field and in current work, and then how to translate that inside TK20. So I knew what all of those pieces and components and roles did, but having that list to refer back to TK20 was absolutely instrumental. And so through those note takings, I was really able to grow in my confidence in using the system and seeing all the connections and how it would be able to assist and be very valuable to all of our stakeholders and faculty and staff. But that's all I have.
Okay, so that was a quick little word from Melissa Coleman. And as she said, TK20 can seem very overwhelming, and it is very overwhelming when you first encounter the program, because it's just a whole bunch of new things, from new terms to new applications within the system. So it will take time and also training. And luckily we can provide both. We can both give you a time, but however, do remember we are trying to transition to this new program. And then also we can provide training. So this training, let's not play that again. The training dates are on this slide, and I also dropped the links in the chat. So remember to first look at what target audience we are focusing on for each training. So for the training done on May 19th, which is a Wednesday, is for field experience and time logs. So we recommend that all field placement office faculty and staff members attend, and also any faculty and staff members that monitor field-based courses and requirements. So that link is in the chat if you want to join. It seems like there is a problem. So ignore my part about saying I'm trying to join those trainings using the links. I will send a follow-up email that contains those links that work, and also this PowerPoint and the document that goes into more detail as to what each boot camp entails. Are there any other questions before we give our closing remarks?
Please feel free to reach out to me and Maria if you have questions that there may be something specific that you are concerned about, or maybe want to even get a little head start. Let us know what we can do to help you. Right now, we are currently trying to wrap up the basic packages so that everybody has something to start with at the boot camp. But again, as a reminder, these are only the bare minimum, and we are more than happy to help you build out and make the things that you need to make your program run the way you envision it running, and to get everything up to the level that you want. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to helping you build everything that you need to be successful through the transition. So have a great Friday, have a great weekend. And again, we are so grateful for your support and we look forward to working with you. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Misty.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Misty. Maria, thanks for all your efforts.
Oh, thanks, Charles. Take care.
You bet.
Can I ask another question?
Of course.
Sure.
I put it in the chat, but things were rolling pretty fast through there. So I have only the permission to review applications in the portal now. Are you going to automatically create a TK20 login permission for everybody, or is there something we have to do to get?
So we're gonna create some kind of pretend logins for the boot camp. But what our intentions are is to eventually have a list, different roles within the system, and identify which persons need those roles. It's really not a good idea for everybody to have multiple roles or more than they need, let's say. But we definitely want you to we definitely want you to have what you need, but nothing nothing beyond that, just because it has the potential to create errors, and limiting that will work the best.
No, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, like right now, I only have the ability to do what I can do, and that's fine. That's all I need. I just wondered if I have to
I think
apply for it, or you automatically know, or how that's going to work.
No, I think what we're going to do, like I said, is create the different roles, and then we're going to kind of look at what currently goes on in the data portal, and then we may be reaching out to say, hey, do you think you need this? Do you see a potential need for this, to those people in question? So we'll make sure that you get what you need. And if you need something else, you just have to ask, and we can certainly make it happen.
Okay. I just, I haven't checked in the last few days, but I just had another student apply. And so I put her through the old portal because you said to keep doing that. But I have another one who wants to apply. As soon as this semester is over, she was going to apply. And so she might be a good person to wait on to put into the new one to try it out.
Right. Yeah, you could try that out for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye, Maria. Thank you. You were a freaking rock star.
Thank you. Woo. That was wonderful.